your boy JB, aka the King of Soul, and today we got some Jordan 5s to look at. The Air Jordan 5 Retro. Now this is the wolf gray colorway. Before we get into the review, do me a favor, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. If you do dig the content, also hit that share button. These videos that we do on this channel are strictly for review purposes, so if you do happen to have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to drop those down below. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into the review. So this sneaker does come in this all gray box here. Now the box lid, you do have the white Jordan Jumpman logo there. Now if you do a 360 around the box, you will see more hits of gray, but you also have, like, you know, some Nike Air brand in here in white. The bottom portion of the box, they do have this hit of a lighter gray. Now it does have like these black kind of, like, you know, paint blotches here, if you will. The bottom portion of the box, nothing really too special going there. You just have more hits of the gray here. Now you do have some Nike brand and the copyright information over here in white. And then you also have your Jordan Jumpman logo over here as well. Other than that, nothing else there, really too much there to notate, but for those that do care about that, there you go. Now the box label on the sneaker does read Air Jordan 5 Retro. The colorway says light graphite, white, and then wolf gray. Now when you do open the box, and it is a swing box lid situation, now up underneath here you do have this hit of white. The sneaker itself does come in this white wax tissue paper. It didn't come double wrapped or anything, but inside the box you do have, like, you know, this white kind of cardboard insert separating the sneakers, and then you are met with the actual sneaker itself. Now this will be a pretty heavily sought after sneaker. We have not seen the color gray on the Air Jordan 5 for quite some time. Inside the box, I'm trying to see if I see, oh, you do have your white and green sticker there. Let me move that out of the way. Now again, we have seen the color gray on the Air Jordan 5 before. This time around, they did switch up some things as far as, like, you know, the materials that they used on the upper. But as far as like build, it does look like your standard Air Jordan 5. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. But again, this is the Air Jordan 5 Retro. And again, this is their wolf gray colorway. So we're going to take a look at the right sneaker like we always do. Now from first observation, the sneaker does look like what you would expect from any other Air Jordan 5. On the lateral side of the sneaker, you do have this hit of this kind of like clear plastic material here for the netting. Up underneath, you do kind of have like this gray mesh material. The entire upper portion of the sneaker. Now one thing that does look a little bit different on this sneaker compared to other Air Jordan 5s, they kind of gave us this, it's kind of like it's a nubuck material, I believe, to the touch. But it does kind of have like these impressions on here. It kind of looks like elephant skin from, like, you know, a distance. But nevertheless, like, you do have the hit of gray on the entire upper. Now one thing that they did do is gave us like the hit of white here, going along the borders of all the panels here with the white stitching. Up along here by the laces, you do have these gray eyelets here. All three of them are the same gray tone, and again you do have some white stitching. Going towards the rear, you do have that number 23 there stitched in gray, and then they actually have, like, you know, a little bit of white stitching surrounding it. More white stitching going towards the back here. The sock liner of the sneaker, they did give us this hit of white. The midsole, they gave us this hit of gray here. Now going towards the front, you do have that hit of white there for the shark teeth, and it does have, like, you know, the paint blotches. They did give us this hit of the icy blue for the outsole. Going towards the rear, you do have more of the hit of gray, but if you look closer, you do have your air unit where you can see through to the other side. Other than that, that's pretty much it to notate over on this side. So switching gears, going to the front toe box area of the sneaker, you are met with more of that hit of gray here, and I will get a close-up here in B-roll so you can kind of see, like, you know, the texture of this gray here. But they did go ahead and give us this gray mudguard situation, and it does have some white stitching. More white stitching going towards the upper portion of the toe box as we get closer to the laces. Now the sneaker itself, It did come pre-laced, and they did go ahead and give us these gray flat laces here, and then up underneath, I'm not gonna like unlace it or anything, but you do have like, you know, more of that hit of the gray, well, not the gray, but the plastic netting material as you do on the lateral or medial sides. And that does go up about like 3/4 of the ton, just like any other Air Jordan 5. Then we are met with this clear lace lock here. Now the lace lock here, if you look closely, it does have the Nike branding. Now the tongue of the sneaker, they did go ahead and give us this hit of gray. Of course, you know, it does have like that reflective, like, you know, 3M there. But if you look closely, they did give us that white Jordan Jumpman logo there stitched in. The back portion of the tongue, you do have this hit of white here, but they did give us this black tag. And of course, you do have the Air Jordan text there in white. The inside of the sneaker, they did go ahead and give us this white insole. But if you look closely, they do have a Jordan Jumpman logo there, and it is in the hit of gray there. And that's pretty much it. The entire inside of the sneaker is all white. Now going towards the medial side of the sneaker, you do have more hits of the gray as you do throughout the entire upper. Of course, you do have some white stitching along the panels here. You do have your gray eyelets here with your gray midsole, and of course you do have your air unit. Over on this side, they did go ahead and give us that hit of white there, and you do have, like, you know, the paint blotches that's consistent with the other side on the you know, with the shark teeth. And then you do have the hit of the icy blue showing over on this side as well. Now going towards the rear, one thing that they did with this pair, instead of giving us the Nike branding, they did go ahead and give us the white Jordan Jumpman logo stitched in there in white. Of course, you do see more gray stitching along the panels there. And then you can see your gray outsole with the hit of the clear blue showing on the bottom there, and that's pretty much it for the rear. Now the bottom portion of the sneaker, they didn't really do anything too different. They did give us like the standard Air Jordan 5 bottom here. Now one thing that they did do, they kind of made it consistent throughout the entire outsole with this icy blue. With most Air Jordan 5s, you would see, like, you know, the hit of like gray or black or something here. Typically, you know, it'd be a little bit different in the mid portion versus, like, you know, the traction pods here, but they just made it consistent throughout the entire bottom on this one here. Now you do have some herringbone traction up here going towards the toe, and then the heel of the foot, and then you also have your Jordan Jumpman logo showing up underneath there, and then you can see your Jordan text there in the mid portion there. And that's pretty much it. Now the left sneaker, it is pretty consistent with the right. Everything is the same on this one. They didn't swap out like any materials or branding or anything like that. It's consistent with the other side. And that's pretty much it on this one. Now if I were to rate this sneaker, I would definitely give this one a solid, let's give this a 9 out of 10. And the reason that I do feel like the only thing that's stopping this sneaker from, well, actually it's two things that's stopping this sneaker from being a 10. I don't like the whole white sock liner on the sneaker, because as you wear like socks and things like that, it will tend to get like dirty. And then it also is a situation here like with this tongue. Now I have seen them do this same material on a few other Air Jordan 5s that had released earlier this year, so I don't know why they're going with this option versus what we've seen with other Air Jordan 5s in the past. But this material that they're using, this gray, to me, I don't really like it. It kind of takes away from, like, you know, the appearance of the sneaker. So that's pretty much it. Outside of that, it would be a perfect 10. So let's just go ahead and stick with a 9 out of 10 on this one. As far as like comfort and sizing, now I did put these on feet. This sneaker does fit just like any other Air Jordan 5. Now, in my opinion, I do tend to keep my Air Jordan 5s true to size. And that's just because I do like the snug fit that they do kind of like provide. Now, if you don't like that, then I do recommend going up a half size. But if you've had like a pair of Air Jordan 5s before, you should already know how these fit. But I do recommend staying true to size. And that's pretty much it. But I definitely want to take time to shout out the vendor who actually gifted the sneaker to review on the channel for you guys. And I do encourage you to stay engaged like always, because I can be reached on all social media platforms. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, even here on YouTube, everything is at the King of Soul. But before we go, I'm gonna hit you guys with a 360 and the B-roll like I always do. But there you go. Air Jordan 5 Retro. And again, this is that wolf gray colorway. So there's the front of the sneaker. Lateral side of the right. Lateral side of the left. There's the bottom portion. There's the medial side. And then there's the rear. And that's it. But I definitely thank you guys for taking the time to tune in like always. But until next time, see you later.